On my way to watch Vice.
This one not do. Much better. So Vice is directed by Adam McKay, who directed films such as The Big Short, The Other Guys, Anchorman, and Step Brothers. And it stars Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, Amy Adams as his wife Lynn Cheney, Sam Rockwell as George W. Bush, and Steve Carell as Donald Rumsfeld. It's pretty much the story of Dick Cheney's rise to power from starting off as an intern to becoming the most powerful vice president in American history. I must admit though, I am not a politician and there's a lot of background I do not know about Dick Cheney. Although I know the name, I've heard of the name before, but when it comes to politics, I don't really follow it as much. So with that, a lot of the scenes and the story itself, I'm not too familiar with. So the lasting impact that I can potentially have is not there. Nevertheless, I think this is a well-crafted, well-told story and also well-directed by Adam McKay, whose movies I just mentioned with his background mostly in comedy. Therefore, there's a lot of that in this movie, and also some questionable decision making, I believe, that may have hurt the movie a little. So with that said, let's go ahead and start off with the negatives. Now, Adam McKay, with his directing style, it may not sit well with a lot of people. There's a lot of tonal inconsistencies in this movie, and with that could be an artistic choice. However, I can see how other people may be put off by that. Me, on the other hand, I didn't mind it at all. But there are scenes there that just seems like they were inserted there for the sake of being inserted in. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's an art direction per se, but it kind of took me out a little bit every now and then. There's one particular scene, I think it was in the second act, where it kind of fooled me to thinking that the story has ended. I thought it was funny how it was executed. However, it took me out a little. Sorry, that was my dog in the background. But anyway, it took me out for a little, and I thought the movie was over. I'm like, okay, they just cut a whole bunch of pieces out from the trailers that I was kind of expecting to have happened but never happened. Speaking of which, there's a scene from the trailers that is not in the movie, and it's this one right here. So not that it matters, but it wasn't in the movie, if you were looking forward to seeing that. And then the other one is the runtime. This is a 2-hour, 12-minute movie, and in all honesty, I think this would benefit more if it was below 2 hours. I think it's just too long. Even though with Adam McKay's way of directing, it still felt too long. The pacing could be a little better, I think. Other than that, there's really not much negatives. Let's go ahead and move on to the positives. Positives, of course, Christian Bale. This dude's the man, I tell you. I don't know how he does it. Every role he takes, he immerses himself in that role. He becomes that character. In this case, with Dick Cheney, and I never heard Dick Cheney talk before, but I assume that and I believe that the accent that Christian Bale used in this film is accurate. And him being Welsh, the fact that he can create all these accents is astounding to me. It's impressive. And of course his acting, I mean, there's no doubt about it, being a method actor. You know, like I said, once he commits himself to a role, he's not Christian Bale anymore. And that's probably like the biggest compliment I can give any actor, is whenever they take on a role, you just forget that they're that actor and they are the character itself. I mean, this dude went from being like this to like this, and then not too long ago back to this. So the guy, man, I mean, it's impressive to see his commitment to a role. And with that, the makeup, very believable. You can tell that the person has aged and little nuances that he gives, from the way he moves his mouth, the way he talks, and the way he acts is just superb. So definitely bravo to Christian Bale for acting his heart out once again. Amy Adams as a supporting character who played his wife. Bravo again. These two have been in another movie before, American Hustle, and they were great in that movie. So here they are teaming up again, and you can believe the chemistry and the way they bounce off each other and in many scenes, and it's just believable to me. How they portray these characters is astounding. Sam Rockwell has always been an excellent actor as well. Steve Carell's character, Donald Rumsfeld, he was hilarious in this movie. Very stern, very dickish, if you will. But what I like most about this movie is two themes, I believe, that this movie is trying to portray, which is power and opportunity. And I think Dick Cheney in this movie has mastered both. When there's something awful that has happened, like 9/11, which is what popularized what he has done, he saw opportunity in that. And the way they displayed that, the way how he was greedy for that kind of power, and actually the entire family, how the Cheney legacy will begin and end. They kind of portrayed a glimpse of that in this movie. There were some comedy that worked, and some, like I said, were just kind of off its mark and didn't really need to be there. Nevertheless, I think Adam McKay's direction was superb. Other than that, it's really more of a straightforward documentary style with some hint of flavor from Adam McKay's directing style. And although, like I said earlier, that it may not sit well with audience or may confuse people because of the way he directs, nevertheless, I think that this movie communicates very well or who Dick Cheney was as when he was in power. Throughout the movie, I was captivated, I was engaged, but for the most part, this movie definitely gets the gun show.
You son of a bitch.
So there you guys have it, my review of Vice. Have you seen it? Know what you think about the movie in the comments below. Please be careful about spoilers. And if you like my review, go ahead and smash that like button and support this channel by subscribing and telling your family and friends about FlixFeed. And as always, if you want to see more, you can click right here and get syncified.